All right, yeah, I'm back. I'm back. I'm talking about being a rainbow. This video is actually a video that I wanted to make before my last video, but I got out here and I got to talking and I just started thinking, being a rainbow. So me, I grew up. I was born in Gary, Indiana. My family migrated down south to Gadsden, Alabama, and I kind of grew up there, moved to Huntsville, Alabama. Um, and then kind of settled down there. I would always go though back and forth between my family in Alabama and my other family in other parts of the world. So my dad's side of the family were born in Gary, Indiana, like my mother's side of the family, but most of that family migrated. So we're talking about large sums of family members. If anybody, growing up in the 80s, they know how big the families got. So, all my family migrated down south, and we kind of settled in the Gadsden. I grew up there. It was rough, but I would always go with my mom's side of the family, and my mom's side of the family was more so middle class. So, we talking, doctors, lawyers, cops, generals in the military, and I would go stay with them, through the summers. And so the life that I was living, like wherever I was at a particular time, would be my dad's side of the family. I'm growing up in the gutter. I'm learning street smarts. Then I'll be like, boom, back in the summer, we like, oh snap, we back over here with my auntie. They give me allowance, eat whatever you want. You know what I'm saying? But they was definitely, always on me about like learning and stuff like that. They always made sure that I was learning and that I was like doing workbooks on the summer, and they was big on that science. They always felt like they didn't want to let me get behind, because they really probably didn't really believe that, I was gonna learn the best I could where I was. And if you've been in one of these family, dynamics, you know what I'm talking about. So, so they would always go out their way to try to make sure that, what I'm saying, I was taken care of, like when it came to, learning and clothes and Christmas. But it created so many dynamics, man, that I don't think a lot of people understand. Even those, my aunties and everybody that was taking care of me, they still didn't even understand these aspects. Like, I grew up, my mom came up missing when I was a couple of months old, right? And so I never got to know my mom. I don't have any memory of her. But there was a lot of things going on in the family, and I had a brother who was older than me, actually. Blood brother, same father, same mother, and he was older than me, so he saw a lot of things. There was rumored abuse and things like that, but here I am, living in these different worlds, where doing one part of my life, I'm going through living in the hood. I'm trying to learn hood lessons. I'm like, I gotta be tough, fit in, blend in. Then boom, I'm back over here with my auntie. Them, we at the pools all the time, libraries. They taking me to libraries, reading events. Like, I'm going back and forth from these, so I'm having to like constantly adapt. So over a course of my life, having to be moving through different things. Now this can ride the lines of what people might be called like code switching, and if you want to call it code switching, that's one thing. But doing what I'm doing is way more than code switching. This is a whole lifestyle of blending in with my environment. So I have a lot of parts of me that people don't, pretty much not aware of. Like I have a dark side to me, what I'm saying, where I might want to do this, and I have, more highly light sides of me where I could just be frolicking, like, like I'm like a real big range, and life has taught me this. But it's a beautiful thing, because like I always tell people, it's just everything is, extremes, polarity. So you either have, you way over here or you way over there, and then you got some people that's in the between. So, like when you talk to your grandmother, Like you don't talk to your grandma the same way that you might talk to your homeboys, and you don't talk to your children the same with the same tone and everything. Would you talk to your children might be sweeten it up a little bit. When you talk to your grandma, you gonna hold on, raise the tone up a little bit for grandma. You know what I'm saying? And it's the same way for me when I'm moving around different people. If I'm getting around some aggressive stuff, I might have to lower that tone a little bit. You know what I mean? And let people know, hey, whoa. We could go there too, but I was up here because I'm just trying to be peaceful. You know what I'm saying? But we could go there too. But that's one of the things in this life, man. Don't be afraid to be. I think actually, like all the like stars and celebrities, they deal with this. Some of them try to like take medication for it, but because they don't know how to master it. I'm always true, and I'm always the core person, because there's do's and don'ts no matter what mirror I'm reflecting. But I see, this helps me read and see people. At one point in my life, I used to be, I picked up a lot of, like, when I was growing up, I had to pick up a lot of swag, because you gotta understand, I'm going over here in the hood, I'm like, okay, yeah, I gotta walk like this, wear my pants like this, well, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Like, hold on, this from a young age though, you know what I mean? From a young age. So I love it. Then I'm like, over here, okay, ain't nobody. When I go and say my aunt, I'm like, hold on, ain't nobody over here doing none of this stuff. No one talked to me about that at the time, you know what I'm saying? But I'm seeing all these differences, and I'm trying to make my mind of it. And people don't understand that I'm juggling two different worlds at the same time. Never take the moment to actually look into that and understanding that no one. And so these are the things that could drive some people insane. But thank God, I was like in touch with, the spirit since a young age. I remember telling my family would say, hey, yeah, boy, he can manifest. They were saying that to me when I was like 6 years old, 7 years old. I didn't even know that. It's like, boy, what it? Because they said I used to be saying stuff and it happened. That's what my family said. I didn't say this stuff. But I do remember having some experiences as a child. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody would talk about me, he's gonna be so smart, he a magician. They used to call me a magician because I used to like do magic when I was a child. All those things is just a part of who I am, and I was born like this. When I was young, I was actually touching people and healing them, my friends and stuff, and they was like, ooh, it's really healing me. I had no idea about Reiki. I learned that when I got older. You know what I'm saying? So all those things I could do, telepathy that I was having as a child, that stuff was real. You know what I'm saying? But I never had anyone to talk to about it. When I was trying to talk to my, family members about it, ask them questions like, where did God come from? That was the end of the conversation. As soon as I asked, where did God come from? That was the end of the conversation. So I just want to encourage people to be themselves, really. You know what I'm saying? Because honestly, like when I was working in the corporate industry, I've been doing IT ever since I got out the military. I joined, a lot of people don't know, I'm about to be 37 this year. I joined the military when I was 18. I did a couple years in there, got out honorably, and I went on, but I started working in IT. I was working for DOD IT for like 15 years. But that position was killing me, and it was killing people around me. Then I was understanding how I was trying to like fit into there, and that I had to quit really my job so I could reclaim who I was again, because sometimes you can lose yourself, but see, it's not about losing yourself, it's about realizing when you lost yourself and can you come back. And so that's what these videos are about. You feel me? It's about finding yourself again, and you might get different parts of me at different times, but let that be what you think it should be. Let that be for whoever catch it, because I'm gonna send a different message, and it might not always be meant for you exactly, but it might be meant for the next one. But that don't mean my next video ain't gonna be for you. You see what I'm saying? So look, man, I'm just expressing myself and want everybody to know that the things that I'm about to teach, this is just me trying to navigate and escape the matrix. Hey, look, when you seen Neo in the Matrix, where was he at when he was escaping the Matrix? He was in some little apartment, like in this little box, trying to figure his way out. As within, so without. That reflection of being somewhere in a little box trying to get out. You feel me? It don't matter where you at or what you look like. It's pay attention to the message, because one thing I learned is you can't always judge a book by its cover, and truth is way stranger than fiction. So if you really want the knowledge, then you have to tap in. You have to see through the disguise and see through all the glitz and glamour. I'm not really here for that. That's why I passed it up, because I already chased all those path routes, and I always seen that kept leading me back to one little spot. No matter where I went, do I chase fame, money, through music, through technology, riches, fame, it always was gonna bring me back to one location, searching for the truth. Searching for the truth. Searching for the truth. And so I just wanted to give y'all this video, more real, raw and rugged aspect of me. And I see y'all on the next one. Peace and love.